Is this a...
This is a primary closet. This is a walk-in closet.
I was wondering whether this. I was wondering if this was a second or third kitchen in the house.
There are 3 kitchens, I think. But yeah.
I was wondering if that was a kitchen and that was the area for the range.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot that.
That was a closet. Okay.
It was a closet. What do you think your We Get Around Network audience is trying to still learn about the Pro3?
Oh, I would say, what's it like to scan?
Really?
Because the only time that someone actually gets to experience real-time scanning is perhaps by watching WGAN-TV, where we follow a Matterport service provider who's doing scanning, and we typically will show that in real time so that someone who's trying to make a purchase decision has some sense of, well, what's it like to scan?
Exactly.
Because when you look at a marketing video that's 30 seconds or a minute or 90 seconds, and you simply can't tell, like, well, what's it like in real time? And what kind of problems did you encounter? And how far are you moving the camera? And what is the tripod height? And what does your iPad setup look like? Do you have just the iPad? Do you have a case around the iPad? Are you using an iPad pencil? Or are you using an iPad that has a heavy-duty case that also has a shoulder strap that gives you an option to hold it by hand? Maybe can you put the iPad tablet down?
You have to be able to change gears at any time. That's why I like using the case. I've always used cases. I feel like I'm literally nervous if I don't use a case and I'm on a shoot. I can't tell you how many times that the case has been helpful, but at the same time, just making sure there's nothing behind you, but making sure that you know, the only other thing that I would usually take to a shoot for a Matterport for most use cases is a dolly, a tripod dolly.
Could you have used a dolly here? Maybe.
Yeah, I totally could have, but it would still have been annoying. Yeah, it would not necessarily have like sort of made it faster.
Well, perhaps because the Matterport Pro3 camera is much lighter than the Matterport Pro2 camera, is your sense that it's just easier to pick this up and move it? Tripod and camera all in one shot versus perhaps?
The camera is a negligible difference. What makes a bigger difference is if you have an aluminum versus a carbon fiber tripod.
And what are you shooting with?
Watch your step again. Watch your step again.
Thank you.
This is a carbon one.
Okay.
I could have brought the aluminum one.
Incidentally, Emily just saved my life there, so thank you, Emily. Appreciate
it. No problem, Dan.
What would you call those? The air conditioning vents in the floor haven't been covered yet, so I have to actually keep an eye out.
Because he's walking backwards while we're filming.
And Emily's keeping an eye out for me. So
I have to remember to do that now.
Exactly.
No.
So which tripod are you using? I see it's
Manfrotto. Maybe I could have borrowed those. And I could just stick my tripod lights on those.
So are you using a carbon?
This is a carbon fiber one. Actually, I think the person that recommended this to me a couple years ago might have been Chris Petracco.
And this is lighter.
Yeah, it's lighter. I actually like the weight of a heavier tripod, to be honest, much more. But I didn't want to bring that in my suitcase. It did fold up a little bit more tightly, but I felt like in terms of flying, so I flew here with all my gear, and so flying here
from the greater San Francisco Bay Area.
Exactly.
And we're in Atlanta today.
Yeah, so San Francisco I flew in from yesterday, and I didn't want to I wanted to keep my bags as light as possible, so I didn't bring everything, but I brought this because this is how it lives, and then the camera, and then the camera fit in my backpack, and the tripod fit in my suitcase.
So you didn't need to do any checked luggage. It didn't give you any angst in that regard.
I checked one bag, but it was no angst.
Yeah.
No angst at all.
And over time, scanning with different tripods, when you initially buying tripods, were you going through them and like, oh, I just broke one. Oh, I just broke one. And then had to decide, oh, maybe it's worth investing in a little bit better tripod with... No, you just said, I don't mind replacing them.
I didn't mind replacing them every couple of years. And I've also sent in a bunch of them to Manfrotto to be refurbished. So last year I sent probably 4 tripods to Manfrotto so that I would have them sort of fixed up. And that was nice because then the tripods were refreshed. And yeah, I'm glad that I did that. It saved me from needing to buy a new one.
So that's kind of a personal preference to say whether you invest in a little bit higher end so you don't have to keep replacing tripods as frequently, or whether you say, oh, I don't mind replacing them or getting them refurbished.